Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Jingle. And today we're going to be talking about the best Living Dead film that you've never heard of. But before we get into that, please remember to like and share this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't. If you're interested in more horror content or physical media reviews like this, stay tuned because I have a lot more on the way. But let's get into it. We are going to be talking about an amazing shot-on-video Living Dead film that one of Vinegar Syndrome's partner labels, Saturn's Core, recently just released. And this was limited to 1,000 copies, so it is unfortunately sold out. So you will have to seek out the DVD, which is very pricey, or try to find this secondhand. Unfortunately, you might be able to find this movie online somewhere too, but it really is the best Living Dead film that you've never heard of. It was put out by Saturn's Core, I believe a month or two ago, but it is called Bone Sickness. This slipcover is one of my new favorites in my collection. The artwork on here is so amazing. And then you also have one of the zombies from the movie on the back. But I just love that artwork. It's so awesome. And then you have a couple more zombies on the front there. It's called Bone Sickness. I believe that this only ever had a DVD release, but it was released in October of 2004, and it was directed by a man named Brian Paulin, whose filmography sounds like something I really need to go through. He's released films titled Fetus, Cryptic Plasm, Bone Sickness, At Dawn They Sleep, Septic, and Mummy Raider. Like, it just so many fun low budget films they sound like. So this the company, or the production company at the beginning, is called Morbid Vision Films, which I absolutely love that. So the premise of this movie is about a morgue worker who experiments on cadavers to help cure his friend's chronic bone disorder. I believe he has like some sort of like advanced brittle bone disease, and basically him going through all of this, it makes flesh hungry monsters be reanimated, and it was just so much fun. You're greeted with a grave robber cutting a corpse's neck flesh off with some scissors, which is awesome. There's some amazing practical blood spouting in this, and like, I don't want to show you guys a ton of this practical effects in this movie, but they are so well done and it's so low budget. I believe that this movie had like a $4,000 budget or something crazy low like that, which is just crazy to think of all the stuff they could do with that low of a budget. But this is like one of the scenes where one of the SWAT members gets eaten by the zombies. That was so much fun. But there's also his girlfriend in this. So she's actually taking care of him, and she's kind of getting fed up with having to take care of him and stuff. It seems like there's some stick impalements in this that were very well done. And like I said, the practical effects are just amazingly well done for how low the budget was. There's a really funny part that my buddy and Robbie and I were actually talking about, where he's like working on this zombie in a morgue, like pulling all these pieces out, and he literally pulls out like a straight up hunk of baby back ribs. It is so awesome and so well done, and it's just something that like a low budget film would do, and it was just amazing. There's also a pair of detectives in this that is a clear homage to Seven. Like, the one white guy in this is straight up trying to look like Brad Pitt. It's so much funny. But this movie is so sleazy. It feels like something that you shouldn't be watching, and I absolutely love it. There's also some well done scares in this one as well. And there's some really clever use of stop motion animation in here during a very interesting scene involving a zombie mimicking the main girl pleasuring herself, which is really, really interesting. But this is another amazing practical effect in this movie. I just loved it so much. And this isn't even like a tenth of all the amazing practical effects that were in this movie. There was a part when the main character who has the bone disease, Alex, is in the bathroom, and it legit almost made me sick. It was so disgusting. He's puking up all these worms, and he had to have like actually put live worms in his mouth for this, which that just reminds me of like the Goosebumps episode, The Haunted Mask, where she actually like bit into a live worm to make the shot look that much better. But it was disgusting, and it was way worse than that Haunted Mask scene. There's a very low, ominous score that's very effective and really cool zombie designs. It almost reminds me of like the zombies in Thriller, because they're almost like low budget, but they still look really good. There's also an amazing homage to Hatchet with a jaw rip kill that was just so amazing. And by the end, it's really funny because there's even like some goblins that come into the mix, and a half zombified Alex, the main character, he learns that the zombies rising from their graves were reanimated by goblins who are eventually going to kill them. And it just like elevates this movie to a whole new level of wild. This is the only other DVD release, I believe, of the film. It was by Unearthed Films, which they have done some amazing stuff. Their 4K release of The Guyver last year was one of probably my top 3 4Ks of last year. I'm a big Guyver fan. Love that series. It's so awesome. But this is the DVD, and I'm sure it goes for a lot less on eBay, but I saw on Amazon they sell for like $67 or something. So I'm sure it's still a pretty pricey DVD. I'm sure it's out of print, but I was so glad that they put this on Blu-ray, and it looks amazing, honestly. Like, just looking at like some trailers and stuff on YouTube, the quality is crap, but the quality on this Blu-ray was amazing. So if you guys can seek this one out, I think you should go for it. I had so much fun with it, especially if you're a fan of like low budget shot on video horror, which I am. There's also a ton of special features on here that I'll just go through really quick. There's some new audio commentaries from 2025 with the director and writer Brian Pollan and the main actor slash producer Rich George, who plays Alex in this movie. There's also an archival 2006 commentary with them. There's a demo version of the movie, which is the original 2004 cut, and that version's like only 98 minutes, and I think this one was like 102 minutes. Yeah, it says that on the back. It was like 102 minutes long, so they must have added a little bit more to this release. There's also a morbid history of bone sickness, a new 2025 featurette with the writer and director. And I went through some of this stuff. There's also morbid locations where they show you like some of the locations that the film was shot, which I think was a lot of fun. There's an archival stunt reel called Scenes That Hurt, which is really cool. There's also an archival behind the scenes making of featurette, and there's a blooper reel. It's filled with a ton of stuff. There's also a Morbid Visions filmed trailer vault, which I didn't even realize. So I'm gonna have to go back through there and watch these trailers for his other films because they look like so much fun, guys. But that was Bone Sickness. I had so much fun with this. This is probably my favorite partner label release from Vinegar Syndrome so far this year. I absolutely loved it. I know my buddy Robbie did. I told him he was going to love it. I knew he would. But if you guys are interested in me doing more like low budget indie shot on video horror films, let me know in the comments. Let me know if there's any that you really like that I need to check out. And before you go, if you could remember to subscribe to my channel, that would be so amazing. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.